Hello everybody, it is Michael here from My Retirement Trading, and today we're going to talk about passive income investing. But before we get into this, I must state that this is not financial advice and it is for entertainment purposes only. Well, at one time I was selling options, mainly covered calls and cash secured puts for a little extra income. And at one time I tried to even do it full time for income to live off of. And basically I would take an ETF such as SPY or the QQQM, and I would sell options on them like covered calls or cash secured puts for income. And I would receive about 1% per month on this, roughly, give or take a little bit. And I was actually having to take my time and energy and effort and watch the market nonstop and etc. And one day I discovered that they had funds that'll do this for you, that will sell covered calls on indexes and pay you the premium. And they had pretty nice returns. And some of them ones paid like 10+% yields annually. And some of the ones like on the NASDAQ, they'd pay like 12 to 14% sometimes. And even some on the S&P would pay between 10 and 12%. So I was like, why am I wasting my time selling options when they got funds available to do this for you? Well, I went to YouTube and I started searching to try to find out how many of these they had, and a little bit more research than that. And I come to find out that there was a lot to choose from. And some of them paid weekly, some of them paid monthly, and some of them had different strategies. Some of them used 0 DTE options, 0 days to expiration. And some of them did strikes that were further out, like maybe such as monthly. So they had different mechanics and stuff, the way they sold their options. But I really didn't care so much, as I was looking mainly for the returns and the track record. But I figured there's no better way to find out than to buy a bunch of different ones and dip my toes in and then figure out who the winners were and who the losers were, or which ones performed better than others. Well, upon doing my research, I found out that they have this kind of strategy, selling covered calls and other option strategies on indexes, as well as individual stocks, and even things like Bitcoin and Ethereum. So there was a lot to choose from, but I always felt more comfortable avoiding single stock risk. And so I chose the majority of the ones that I invested in based on indexes, such as the NASDAQ and S&P 500. So basically, that's where my journey started. Well, the main reason that I personally chose to invest in these only had to do with I had quite a bit of cash in a money market, and I was never really pleased with the return. I believe I was getting like at 4% when things were good. And I felt like I could do better with that. So that's why I decided to dig around and end up trading some options. And then eventually I ended up buying these funds where they traded options for me. And I haven't traded options in a while because of these funds make it so convenient for me, for my taste. And when I was selling options, I psychologically would get scared or just wouldn't do it sometimes. And then these funds, some of them have rules-based strategies, and they just do it for you. So they're not going to get scared psychologically or anything like I did. So that's the reason I chose to go this route. Well, I'm not going to get into any particular funds in this video, but there are plenty of great providers out there. Some pay weekly, some pay monthly, some are based on single stocks, some are based on crypto. And there's plenty of great resources out there on YouTube, such as Spencer Invest and Marcos Mila and The Income Architect, amongst many others. So plenty of great resources to do some research and even go to these companies' websites and do some research. So I'm not going to get into any in particular one today. Well, in conclusion, one of my passive income investment strategies is covered call and option strategy based ETFs. And some of them pay me annual yields of like 12, 14%. Some of them pay a little less, but they capture more upside as far as the share appreciation. And I don't have to trade options, even though I still could if I wanted to. But I let them do the work for me so I can go about living my life. And that's the reason why I chose them. And this is one of my passive income investing strategies. It's just to buy covered call ETFs and let them do the work for me. And just collect the money and go about living my life. So I appreciate you all watching this video. If you have any comments or suggestions, drop them below. And on that note, until next time, I will catch you all later.